I'm not anti-vax. No, I'm pro-vax. I'm pro-freedom to choose.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Hall of Fame tennis player Novak Djokovic. I'm not quite sure if he's in the Hall of Fame yet, but he should be. One of the best tennis players to ever do it. Now, he became very controversial over the past 2 or 3 years due to his resistance to get the vax. Remember, there was a certain time, and that time might still be going on, where you could not travel to certain places if you didn't have the vax. In his case, he was actually deported from Australia over his resistance to get the vax, and I still think he's unvaxxed to this day. Now, he got deported from Australia when the Australian Open was happening. I'm not quite sure where he lives, where his actual residence is. Obviously, he is not Australian. He's European, but he was trying to play in the Australian Open. I'm sure it was a big money game, a lot of money on the line. That's his career. That's what he does. So you know what? My health and my ability to choose what's right for me, my freedom is worth more than whatever they want to pay me out the Australian Open. If I lose my career, if I lose my livelihood, then so be it. I'm going to stand on what I believe in. And I think now, as we stand here today, 2023, he has been vindicated 1,000%, at least in my opinion. Now, before I go any further, let's watch some of this. I got to pause it at certain points because it's 60 minutes, and I'm going to give you a copyright claim and everything else. But I will link to this full interview and also an article in the description. If you're on IG, visit a link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Your tennis is so precise and crisp. How do you handle it when you make these sort of errors and lapses, when you break a racket or when your emotions get the better of you?
Well, look, I have broken rackets in my life, no doubt about it.
Okay, I got to pause it because copyright, 60 minutes. It is what it is. I can't do nothing about it. Blame YouTube.
And I'm not proud about that. And I'm ashamed of myself when I do that, no doubt. But at the same time, I accept myself as a flawed human being.
Djokovic found controversy of a larger scale in early 2022.
Remember this time with these big crazy masks and the airports? It was just a mess. It was a crazy mess. I don't want to go back to that time. They're talking about there's a brand new bug on the horizon. We're not doing all this jazz right here ever again.
2. Unvaccinated, he got an exemption to play the Australian Open at a time when the country was coming out of a long COVID lockdown. But after public outcry, Djokovic was deported.
Now, my question is, okay, if you got the exception, you got the exemption, and everything was all right, and they are leaving the lockdown phase, why was he deported? Because of the public getting upset, getting offended? Maybe they were still having some restrictions and they felt like he was being treated differently. I mean, the best thing to do would have been to let everybody off, but that's not his fault. What's that got to do with him? So was it to be egalitarian? So everybody's on the same page, equally oppressed? You got to oppress him too? I have no idea, but let's keep on going.
Making for a global news event. How much of a toll did that whole controversy take on you?
It did. I was basically declared as a villain of the world, and
You sense that?
of course, and I had basically, most of the world against me. I had that kind of experience on the tennis court with crowds that were not maybe cheering me on, but I never had this particular experience.
That's a whole different thing right there. You're talking about the crowd and they're not really on your side. Maybe they're even booing you. That's one thing. It's kind of a enclosed environment and you're able to control it to a certain extent. To a certain extent, you could control what happens when you are in the moment playing a game. But when you're talking about a thing like this where people are polarized, some are going to love you, you're going to be the hero, some are going to hate you, and you're going to be the villain. What can you really do? There's no pleasing anybody. There's no winning in a situation. Because even if you do relent and then get the shot to play, some are going to say that you're soft and you kowtowed and you just a sellout. You do whatever for money. And then some are going to say that you're doing the right thing and you want to save grandma and you're trying to do the best thing for humanity. So there's no winning in a situation.
before in my life.
Did you misread the Australian public and what the reaction would be?
I mean, which way did I misread? I mean,
They don't like exceptionalism. This was a culture that felt very strongly about vaccination.
Yeah. See, the exceptionalism. That's kind of what I was thinking.
but the point is that it was not up to me to read anybody. I got the exemption, I got the permission to come into the country. And so, of course, it escalated to the highest of the highest levels globally.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You were not against vaccination. You just did not want it for yourself.
This is a thing that people always try to hit you with when you say you don't want to get the vax for yourself. You're anti-vaxxer, you're a tinfoil hat wearer, all this and that and the third. But let's hear his response.
Exactly. People try to, declare me as an anti-vax. I'm not anti-vax. No, I'm pro-vax. I'm pro-freedom to choose.
Exactly, 100%. So shout out to Novak Djokovic there. And here is an article on the whole situation on CBS News. I will link to the whole thing in the box. But what he was saying is right. It's like, look, I'm not anti-vax. I'm not pro-vax. I'm about pro-choice. I don't want to get it. Now, if you want to get it, if you want to go out there and put that in your body, then go knock yourself out. But I don't want to get it. I want to do something else. I don't think it's the best thing for me. Why is that a bad thing? Why is that a thing that I must be villainized over? It's not right. It's not fair. Now, here's some of this here. Again, I will link to the whole thing. Y'all know where to be. Okay. So I'm going to just kind of scroll through this. So he's Serbian. So he's from Serbia or that particular area. He may not necessarily be from Serbia. He could be Serbian, could be from the old Yugoslavia, which is a different story, and I digress. And why is it that so many of these tennis players come from that particular part of the world, guys with a bunch of C's and V's and X's in their last name? But I don't want to be racist, so I'll keep on rocking here. All right. Now, how old is he? He's got to be close to my age, like late 30s, early 40s, something like that. Okay. Again, one of the best tennis players to ever do it. Shout out Novak Djokovic. And I personally was in the camp of people that appreciated what he did. Matter of fact, I'm going to come back so you can see me clearly. I appreciated what Novak Djokovic did because he stood up for what he believed in. It didn't matter about losing his job. And I know not everyone had that luxury. I'm sure he's filthy rich, and missing a tournament or 2 or 10 ain't really going to hurt him. Now, I'm sure he'll lose millions in the process. He'll lose millions of dollars in the process. I'm sure that'll be an issue because if you could get, I don't know, $40 million more over the course of a few tournaments, you might want to get that money. But I'm sure he has a few more million in the bank, so he's not going to be totally just out here with nothing to do. He's not going to be on the streets begging for change. He's not going to be that. But a lot of people would have been in that spot had they not relented and got the vax. Now people are trying to roll it back, talking about, oh, we're sorry, we apologize, we were doing too much. Remember, I did a video about the military where they said if you were discharged or if you left because of the vax requirement, come on back. It's all, hey, water under the bridge. I know we ruined your life, destroyed your marriage. I know your health could be compromised potentially if you got one vax, had an adverse reaction. Then we said get more, and you said no way. I know you might have long-term, lasting, lifelong effects, but don't worry about that. Come on back to the military. Come on back to the job. We need you. That's going on now. People are trying to just act like it didn't happen, but it did happen. And I applaud those who stood up for themselves the entire time because now you're vindicated. And when this happens again, and, knock on wood, hopefully it doesn't happen again. But if this comes about, another illness, sickness, or whatever, and they say, okay, time to get locked back down, time to put on your mask. If you don't get this shot, you can't go to work. People are going to say, you know what? No. I'm going to be like Novak Djokovic, the amazing tennis player, amazing person. I'm not going to get involved. And I'm going to add one last piece here. Do you know he opened 50 preschools, 50 preschools? Do you know that? This guy's like a humanitarian, a really, really good person. And they villainized him, made him to be the worst thing in the world. They were trying to put the red hat on him, tinfoil hat on him. They were trying to put whatever hat they could put on him. just conspiracy theorists, you hate grandma, all kind of stuff. But again, he has been vindicated. And not just him. He's a big-time celebrity, multi-millionaire. Everybody knows him. We could point toward him as being somebody who didn't relent. But a lot of us didn't relent. I didn't. A lot of you guys didn't. Some of you guys had no choice. You got kids. You got family to take care of. And if you don't get the shot, you can't take care of your family. I'm not trying to shame anybody that was forced into it. If anything, I'm shaming those who forced you into that situation, knowing that you needed a job, knowing you couldn't not get the shot or else you wouldn't be able to pay your bills, pay your rent, because throughout all this stuff that was going on, hey, we still got bills to pay. We still got to eat food. How can we do that without the job that I've worked hard for, that I've sacrificed for, that I've given years of my life for? How can we do that? It's not really a possible thing. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on what Novak Djokovic said? Do you agree? Do you, for some reason, not agree? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I agree with him 100%. I stand by what he was saying back then in 2020 or 2021, whatever that was, and I stand by him even more right now. He stood on his square. He's like, look, if the rules state I have to get the facts and there's no exception, then I'm not going to play. That's it. You can't coerce me. You can't shame me. You can't guilt me into doing a thing that I don't want to do. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.